A level of normalcy has returned to Sri Lanka after its president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, resigned. On the streets of Colombo, celebration broke out to acknowledge the final removal of the president despite the curfew that had earlier been implemented. Rajapaksa's departure was confirmed after he flew to Singapore via the Maldives, and according to report, Ranil Wickremesinghe will become interim president until Sri Lanka's members of parliament vote for a new leader. The country has for long been suffering economic crisis, which led to a protest that saw citizens taking over the presidential palace. The president had to flee before the angry protesters stormed the premises. Before he fled Sri Lanka on Wednesday amid crushing economic crisis, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was the last of 6 members of the country's most influential family still clinging to power. From a galloping inflation to a president's resignation, it can only be hoped that Sri Lanka will see a new and better horizon. How did Sri Lanka economy shrink? At a time when Gotabaya came into office and tourism plunged in the wake of bombings and foreign loan on controversial development projects needed to be repaid, Rajapaksa paid deaf ears to economic advisors and pushed through the largest tax cut in the country's history. It was meant to enhance spending, but critics warned it would slash the government's finances. Pandemic lockdowns and ill-advised ban on chemical fertilizers further hurt the fragile economy. Soon, the country ran out of money and couldn't repair its huge debts. Shortages of food, cooking gas, fuel, and medicine stirred public anger at what many saw as mismanagement, corruption, and nepotism. Until the latest crisis deepened, Sri Lanka's economy had been expanding and growing a comfortable middle class. A restaurant manager in a hotel in Colombo, Sitara, said she used to have a steady income, but with no tourists coming in, the hotel closed. She said, "We don't know who will come next, but we have hope they will do a better job of fixing the problems," adding that Sri Lanka used to be a prosperous country. In another finding, Sri Lanka economic crisis started in 2019 and is recorded as the country's worst economic crisis since its independence in 1948. The crisis is said to have begun due to multiple compounding factors like money creation, a nationwide policy to shift to organic or biological farming, the Easter bombings in 2019, and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. As of March, Sri Lanka had been earmarked for sovereign default as the remaining foreign exchange reserves of $1.9 billion will not be sufficient to pay the country's foreign debt obligations for 2022, with $4 billion to be repaid. Indeed, Sri Lanka's economy is in shambles. Only a realistic economic policy will elevate the country from where it is presently.